Hello there you guys, welcome to another my videos. I currently apologise for that. I'm going to make a brand new video and I'm going to start again because currently my battery currently died. So yeah, to confirm potentially that Southampton are now in line and our favourites to appoint currently Ralph Hasenhuttl as their current new potential manager after Mark Hughes got sacked on currently Monday, and Southampton have confirmed with a statement, thanking his efforts at St Mary's and also thanking the thanking the staff as well. But reportedly, Mark Hughes only lasted 8 months into the job with Southampton. Only winning one Premier League game all season this season, and reportedly now South are lined up to get Ralph Hasenhuttl as their potential new manager. And Southampton did say they want this confirming by the end of the week, but presumably it could be confirmed by Wednesday as well, because potentially Ralph Hasenhuttl, let me know if I pronounced his name wrong. I want to know your opinion, Southampton fans. Do you think he'll, change your club around? Ralph Hasenhuttl is currently being managerless for 6 months. He's obviously he likes big manager, so he has been managerless for 6 months. He had a 2 year spell there. Potentially, he didn't sign a new contract. This is why he currently left RP Leipzig. He's managed quite a few other teams in the past as well. Reportedly, in his first season, he got second place with RP Leipzig. In his second season, he finished sixth with RP Leipzig. And during his couple of teams he's managed, he has gained got promotions a couple of times as well. As a player, he won. He's a former Austrian striker as well, reportedly. I think, Ralph Hasenhuttl, I think he's won the Austrian football Bundesliga winner quite a few times. He's won the Austrian Super Cup winner as well as the Ralph Hasenhuttl, and reportedly he's favoured to come in the Premier League to manage Southampton to currently replace the sacked Mark Hughes. But we know with Southampton, have had a really bad start to the season, and the recent managers they've had, especially, they haven't had really long tenures. The club obviously just sacked Mark Hughes, only 8 months into the job. Before that they had Mauricio Pellegrino. He only lasted, was it like he lasted like under a year. Then before him, they currently had Claude Puel, who lasted a year. Then before him, they had Ronald Koeman, who lasted 2 years at Southampton. Then before him, they had Pochettino, who lasted just over a year. And then before him, they had Nigel Atkins, who lasted 3 years. So the longest tenure out of them, most recent managers at Southampton's had, Nigel Atkins, had the longest tenure, with Southampton, most recently. And I think that was back in 2010, when Nigel Atkins was at Southampton. But Mark Hughes, I wonder where he's going to go from here, now. I wonder what Mark Hughes is going to do, because potentially, as a player, he was a great player, was Mark Hughes. As I said, he was great in the 80s and 90s for Manchester United. He won loads of silverware with us, like Premier Leagues, FA Cups, League Cups and that. And he won quite a few honours with Chelsea as a player. Also was Barcelona, Bayern Munich as a player. Chelsea, as I said, Everton. He was a player, Southampton, and Blackburn as well. But he won quite a few honours in his playing career. He was a very good player, but potentially, he hasn't won out in terms of silverware, as a manager, as Mark Hughes, he hasn't really had long tenures, in his managerial career. Mark Hughes, he's been at a couple of teams, he had a 4 year period with Blackburn back in 2004 until 2008, and he obviously had a 4 or 5 year tenure, with Stoke City, but the other teams he's managed have been short tenures, really. He's been at City, QPR, Fulham, City, QPR, Fulham, obviously Southampton, where he's just been sacked from. So he has, been at quite a few teams as Mark Hughes. As I said, he's managed quite a few teams. Southampton confirmed it on Monday that he was currently sacked, and reportedly Ralph Hasenhuttl is reportedly favoured to replace the sacked Mark Hughes at Southampton Football Club, because obviously they're sitting in the relegation zone this season. And potentially for me, obviously Mark Hughes was under pressure anyway before they played us at the weekend. I think, this is the second manager sacked now this season. I think potentially Mourinho is actually the favourite to be the next manager sacked. Currently said, that's a big breaking news to update you with, that Ralph Hasenhuttl, however you pronounce his surname, is a favourite to replace the sacked Mark Hughes as well. So potentially this could be confirmed tomorrow that that's Southampton's potential new manager. But I think at the moment Kelvin Davis has took over as interim manager time being. As I said, but as you updated you, I think Mourinho's going to be the next, because we're not looking very, very consistent this season. We're not scoring enough goals. Defensively, very, very bad as well. And obviously, Mourinho's comments of what has been coming out, in the press in the last couple of days, as if you have been seeing, the comments of what Mourinho's been coming out with. He said just try what on.
Looking at right.
Whose is it?
Yours. Yeah.
Does it fit me? I don't want it for Christmas anywhere. No. Right there a minute. But yeah, sorry about that. As I was saying, so Mourinho's been coming out in the last couple of days, and he's basically been saying in the press and all this, saying that potentially Manchester United need almost a miracle to finish in the top four. But yet, a couple of weeks ago, he was convinced we could finish in the top four. So potentially, it changed his perspective after the Southampton draw at the weekend. So he said Manchester United would have to produce a miracle to potentially get in the top four. But reportedly, as it's now just said in the press today, that reportedly, I didn't mean. This is what Mourinho said. I didn't mean what I said. If I did say that we need a miracle for the top four, so what he's saying is, he didn't mean it. If he did say we need a miracle to finish in top four, but obviously he did say it, because obviously it confirmed. He'd said it to Brazilian TV as well, that he mentioned that Manchester United almost need a miracle to finish in the top four, and he said, if I didn't mean it if I did say that we needed a miracle. But then if you look further down the article of what it said, potentially Mourinho says he's still convinced we can finish in the top six. This is what he said, and he said all we need to get is a good run of results. So potentially Mourinho says we don't need a miracle at all now, but yesterday potentially Mourinho said we almost need a miracle to finish in the top four. So he does potentially, he does keep changing his perspective on things, as we all know. And lots been coming out in the press about him and Paul Pogba. The relationship's getting worse and worse and worse. Because they both have disputes with each other. You caught Mourinho saying to him in the dressing room, lack of respect for the players. No respect for the supporters, killing the mentality of his teammates, and he also called him a virus as well. Did Jose Mourinho, and reportedly, Mourinho's potentially notified the club officials about his frustration and that with Paul Pogba, and obviously on what he said about Paul Pogba and stuff. So their relationship is getting worse and worse and worse, and this could potentially get him out of the club. Maybe, I don't know, but potentially Paul Pogba's reacted. He's obviously criticised his current tactics and his team selection. As quite a few pundits have, and and a lot of Manchester United fans have questioned about his team selection. Potentially for me, I don't think he knows his best 11. As I said, but Mourinho says he's admitted as well we shouldn't be in 7th position, Jose Mourinho. But it was interesting what he came out with yesterday, because he potentially said, we need a miracle to finish in the top four. Well, no, he said almost we need a miracle to finish in the top four. And he confirmed this, because he said this to Brazilian TV. And then he says in another media outlet today, what if I didn't mean it what I said if I did say it. So he sort of said on the basis, he said, if I didn't mean what I said, he didn't mean it if he did say it. So what he's saying is he didn't mean it if he did say we need a miracle. He said he didn't mean it. So this is what Jose Mourinho said. If he did, and he said if I did say it, but he knows he did say it anyway. But he told Brazilian TV to it. So potentially he keeps changing his perspective quite a few times as Mourinho, as we all know. Potentially he spent just under £400 million on 11 players. He's obviously sanctioned 14 off. He's obviously admitted as well he's not too convinced we can get any top players in the January window, even though reportedly he's going to get tens of millions of pounds to spend in the January window. And as I said, I think the board and the owners need to try and recommend the right man to come into this club. As I said, who's got the stature and who's got the winning mentality to make Manchester United competitive and challenge for major honours. And this would have been Mourinho's expectation level. Considering the history he's got. Considering he's won honours everywhere he's been. And honestly, the pressure's mounting up and mounting up on, and I think we'll lose on Wednesday. That could be potentially Mourinho's last game. I do not know. It depends, how much the board and the owners can take. They've took so much at the moment. I don't know how they've put up with this for so long. Um, as I currently said, but it doesn't matter what Mourinho's won in the past because he always seems to be discussing about his history and what he's achieved in the past and that. And he's publicly wrong for criticising players. As I said, he's all right with Luke Shaw now. He was criticising Luke Shaw last season. That's why Luke Shaw hardly played last season. The interview the other week, he criticised Martial, Rashford, Lingard, and Luke Shaw were criticised last week, the other week as well. But he hasn't had any problems with Luke Shaw this season, of course, as he did last season. I think it was last season he had the problems with Luke Shaw. That's why he hardly played. He's having fairly bad disputes with Paul Pogba. He slated Paul Pogba down to him in the dressing room and said, bad stuff about Paul Pogba, calling him a virus and all this. So he isn't having a good reputation at Manchester United at the moment. He's obviously, we were trophyless last season, but we got second place. We finished 19, 20 points behind City. First season we got 3 trophies on the board. And I know he's been a winner in the past, but it doesn't matter. At this moment in time, you can't compare Mourinho to the likes of Guardiola and even Jurgen Klopp or the rest of the top managers out there. You can't compare Mourinho to them. At this moment in time, while he's Man United manager, because he's not making any impact. He's been a failure since he's come to the club. His style of play is atrocious for the club. He hasn't emulated the football he's done in the past. He hasn't emulated what he's done in the past to bring the success to Manchester United. Because I thought he would have, made us, successful again and made us up there competing and, winning major honours. But we just haven't done this. And we're not the team we used to be. It didn't work out on the Vanguard couple of years. He got players in. There's still 16 players still here, and we got two of the players and two of the players in that under Morris, and they're still here now, as we all know. But we spent a lot of money, since Ferguson retired. We spent like £1 billion. Had different managers with different philosophies and different styles of play, as I said. But potentially ahead of tomorrow, we've got Arsenal tomorrow. I think we've got Ashley Young out. He's suspended. You've got a lot of defensive problems, so it's going to be interesting to see how Mourinho builds up. He's going to at least make a change or two, from obviously the Southampton game. I should presume he will. Ashley Young suspended, so I think Mourinho should give Doylett the chance. He made his Premier League debut on the weekend against Southampton as a substitution, of course. But I think Doylett obviously can fall for Ashley Young's spot at that right back. Centre, it's interesting who he's going to go with, in central defence, because obviously I don't know if Eric Bailly and Smalling are going to be featuring. Smalling's been recently injured as well. I don't know about Rojo, what's happening with him. We know Lindelof's injured till mid-December. Phil Jones, I think he'll probably go with Phil Jones. Bailey, I think he'll leave at the end of the season because he's hardly getting any game time. I might leave in January. Darmian, I don't think he'll be featuring there either. So we have got a lot of defensive issues, as we all know. It also said Marcus Rashford had suffered a knock as well. And we know Sanchez is not going to make the reunion against Arsenal on Wednesday because obviously he's until January. Mourinho confirmed that he's going to be out for a long time, as we all currently know. Potentially hasn't made an impact at the club anyway. I want him out of this club because potentially he isn't developing. We know the lack of development in the team. And so I think Sanchez will go to PSG in January or next summer, or maybe go to another team. I think he's keen. He told his friends he wants to leave Manchester United. Sanchez has only been here nearly a year now, and I think he's unhappy with Mourinho as well. He's frustrated with Mourinho. He's Alexis Sanchez. And potentially it is a hamstring injury. I think it's more severe than Victor Lindelof's. And he's proved himself well in the past because he's proven in the Premier League he was good with Arsenal, good with Barcelona, good with Underneath. He won FA Cups with Arsenal and that. And he was very, very good under Arsene Wenger, but he hasn't delivered the goods to Manchester United, since coming. He's on £500,000 a week. And, so I think he will go, Alexis Sanchez. I think he will definitely go. without a doubt, Martial's been our potential best outfield player this season. You've got to agree with me. And he hasn't signed a new contract yet. It come out quite a few weeks ago that Man United are in talks of securing, Martial a new deal as well. He's only young. He still needs to grow and develop more. He is only 22 years of age. As I said, he's just a year older than Marcus Rashford. He's Anthony Martial. He's got obviously good experience of being in France in the past, where he's risen up the ranks. With Lyon and Monaco. And he's been fantastic since he's come to United, but I think this is one of his potential best seasons as a Manchester United player. His last couple of games, he hasn't been to his potential, but we know there has been no signs yet of Martial agreeing a new contract with Man United. But obviously, top players or any top young player, wouldn't want to come to, as a transfer, wouldn't want to come to Manchester United at the moment. No Galactico player, I think, would want to come to Manchester United. The way we're performing, the position we're in. These top players are aware of how much of a big club we actually are. Historically, we are the best team in English football, but nowadays we're not. And top players want to be up there challenging for major honours and competing, and potentially we're not. So this is why Mourinho, he's obviously said he's not convinced we can get any. It's unlikely. Mourinho said it's unlikely that we'll get any major signings in the January transfer window. As well, and we obviously have to focus on getting players new deals as well, because we have got a catalogue of players in that team that are also coming to the end of the deals as well, as we all know, guys. But as I said, our top four ambitions are slipping away, as I said, and as I said, top four's not good enough anywhere, because this is basically, as it seems, like Jose Mourinho's first season, as I do keep saying, where he's getting used to the players, getting used to the era. But he isn't. He should know this club now inside out. This is his third season now, and he isn't. He hasn't met the expectation levels of this club whatsoever. He's very, very arrogant as well. I think his plan A is shit. I think his plan B is shit, Mourinho's. So I think everything's just wrong about him at this club, and he doesn't suit the strappings of this club at all, does Jose Mourinho, I'm afraid. And we could see players leave. Mourinho only thinks we'll get one player in January anyway. We know he had a disappointing transfer window last summer. He's missed out on a lot of potential targets. He was frustrated with Ed Woodward about this, was Jose Mourinho. So I think he's going to be potentially the next. He's going to be the next favourable manager to be sacked. Because there's obviously two managers that have been sacked this season. Jonkovic and Mark Hughes. But as I said, with Ralph Hasenhuttl or something like that, I've never heard of him as a manager. Reportedly, he RP Lesbiggy were there 2 years. He didn't sign a new contract with them. That's why he stepped down as their manager. He's been managerless since May, so now he could be the favourite to come to the Premier League to manage Southampton. Reportedly, as a player, an ex-Austrian striker. Reportedly, he won Austrian football Bundesliga winner a few times. He won the Austrian Super Cup as well, reportedly. And, in a couple of teams he managed, he'd gained promotion with a couple of teams as well. But I don't really know much about him. But Southampton reportedly want this confirming at the most by the end of the week as well. But I think Mourinho's going to be next. And then obviously then we'll have to sort plans of who we think's going to be the right man, to, elevate us to that higher level and, make us to be competitive again. And that could be potentially Zinedine Zidane, because obviously he may be one of the favourites to come to Manchester United if Jose Mourinho does get the sack, whether it'll be now or whether it'll be, a couple of months, whether it'll be the end of the season. I don't know, but Zinedine Zidane has never been proven of managing English football, because he never has. He's never played in English football, as we all know. Really, really good with Real Madrid. Won Champions Leagues with them and all that. Won honours with them. He had a good team, when he was there. Zinedine Zidane, he had a lot of good players, that were playing for him as manager. And he got the best out of the players the majority of the time. Zinedine Zidane, and he enjoyed a great experience with Real Madrid. And I thought he was good when he played for Real Madrid, and he played for Juventus and Bordeaux in the past as well. He's been in discussions with his representatives in the past of coming to managing English football, as I said, but reportedly Bayern Munich have been interested in Zinedine Zidane as well. I think he's won a few awards for himself as well. But reportedly he could be the next favourable manager to take over Jose Mourinho, as I said, or we may go for someone else, as I currently said. Who would you recommend? Some people may say Conte. Well, a lot of United fans probably say no. That maybe some suggest Laurent Blanc. There's loads of managers out there, as I currently said, but people still think us sacking Mourinho now. People have perspective. As I said, people do have perspectives, thinking that if Man United sack Mourinho now, it's not going to change anything. But if we actually got a new manager in and he actually got us in the top four at the end of the season, I'd applaud him because he'd only just come to the club when he got us top four at the end of the season. But Wednesday, tomorrow night, going to be a big game between Manchester United and Arsenal. Umremme, very very good manager, and I think if he gets, we know Arsenal aren't good enough to be title contenders yet. As I said, I still think Umremme, it's his first season. He still needs to reinvest. He needs to get some reinforcements in there because Arsenal have got players aging up. I still think he needs at least a couple of transfer windows to bolster the squad even more, and then potentially make them title contenders, as I said. But if he gets third or fourth this season, remember, he deserves manager of the season, to be quite fair to you, because it is his first season. He's still getting used to it, managing English football, and he's still getting used to the era, at Arsenal, and he's making a meal of it at the moment. He's doing very, very well. They're unbeaten in 19-20 games in all competitions. He's at 13-14 in the Premier League. They've got class players, as I said. Aubameyang, fantastic. Lacazette, fantastic. And they're playing really, really well. And potentially, we know when it comes to United and Arsenal, we always seem to raise our game against Arsenal. We have got problems with injuries and stuff. I think, Arsenal have got Welbeck out. They've got Monreal out as well. It's a debate whether Ozil's going to start or not. He may not because he suffered a back injury. Jack is obviously suspended as well. And this is going to be the first meeting between Mourinho and Umremme since 2013. So it's going to be interesting to see how Mourinho lines up, how Umremme lines up. As I said, it's going to be an interesting clash. But as I said, I don't see us winning the game. We know they haven't won since 2006 at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Arsenal, as we all know, they had a good 11. They had good 20. They had 20. Arsene Wenger 22 year. Won a lot of honours and that. In his first 11, 12 years, very, very good. And then all of a sudden, it just started to collapse, and a lot of Arsenal fans wanted him out, especially in the latter stages of his current managerial career with Arsenal. As I said, the new he's got them playing really, really well. Arsenal do look a very, very good side under Umremme. Aaron Ramsey's still playing well for them, even though he knows he's going to be leaving Arsenal. He comes to the end of his contract next summer. I think Arsenal have already, confirmed that he won't be signing a new contract anywhere. He's been at Arsenal, I think, is it 10 years or so like that or whatever. He was good during his Cardiff days as well, where he was up the ranks. But yeah, he's a good midfielder, Aaron Ramsey. I do like Aaron Ramsey, to be quite fair, but as I said, we've got to win these games now. We've got to stop dropping points. We've got to stop dropping points to low positions, and big teams. Mourinho's known for parking the bus against big teams. He did it at Anfield last season. He did it at Manchester City a couple of weeks. He did it at Manchester City this season at the Etihad. So I hope Jose Mourinho doesn't go defensively. That he's got a reputation of doing it here especially. So yeah. And Arsenal, we know the current holders of the FA Cup, as we all know. Won the Premier League 3 times. They went undefeated all season in 2004, and we were actually the team to beat their 50-match unbeaten run, as we all know. But Arsenal, Manchester United were the fixture back in the day when we had Fergie, when they had Wenger, when you had all them good players, as I currently said, guys. So it's going to be an interesting game. More things will update about that tomorrow, as I said. With the David De Gea situation, do you think he's going to leave Man United? I don't know. Reportedly he wants to become the top earner at the club and potentially the highest paid goalkeeper in world football. If Man United have any chance of persuading him to stay at the club, I think he may be demanding the wages that Alexis Sanchez receives. He's demanding the same amount of wages that Alexis Sanchez is receiving. De Gea. He's obviously got that contract now until 2020 because we activated that clause to extend his contract up till 2020. We know potential of either number one replacement out if we don't secure David De Gea a new deal. As we all know, he has been here since 2011, so he has experienced the good times. As I said, very very good goalkeeper indeed. We know Real Madrid nearly got him in 2015. It said part of the Paris Saint-Germain, the Juventus are interested in him as well, David De Gea. So potentially Mourinho said he was confident recently he was going to sign a new deal. Said quite a month or so ago he wasn't too confident De Gea was going to sign the new deal. And De Gea potentially, I think he's wanting to know, as it said the other day in the press, if Mourinho is staying at the club and that, and he wants to know what's going on at Manchester United. Then he's going to potentially make a decision whether he's going to sign a new deal with Man United. I hope he does sign a new deal with Manchester United, to be quite fair. He's won Clubs Player of the Year 4 out of 5 seasons. George Mendes, his current agent, have been discussions, Juventus about him potentially making a move there. Paris Saint-Germain have been mentioned as well. They're reportedly willing to put 60 million in for him next summer. But as I said, if he doesn't sign a new deal, then obviously De Gea will not come cheap. Man United will demand at least 70-75 million pounds for him. If we know he's not, we know we can cash in for him next summer if he doesn't sign a new deal next summer. And he'd become obviously potentially the most expensive goalkeeper in the world if that was to happen, and he doesn't sign a new deal and we would sanction him off. And then potentially we could use the money that we invested for David De Gea if he doesn't sign a new deal, and then potentially use that to get Jordan Pickford, because obviously that is Man United's number one choice replacement if De Gea doesn't sign a new deal at the club. And Jordan Pickford, I said in last year, so he's made the same amount of saves as David De Gea. Jordan Pickford, as I said, is an ex-Sunderland player. He risen up the ranks with them in the reserve team with Sunderland. He's been at a lot of teams on loan. Since he's been at Everton, he's developed himself fantastic well. He was very, very good in the World Cup. He's under contract of Everton until like 2024, is it? Something like that. Something like that as well is Jordan Pickford. But reportedly, he could become one of the most expensive goalkeepers in the world. Well, Chelsea's the most expensive. They paid 72 million for their departure Courtois, so they got a replacement. But Man United are prepared to pay up to 70 million pounds for Jordan Pickford if De Gea doesn't sign a new deal. If he doesn't sign a new deal, as I said. Potentially, we'll have to see what happens, guys, about that. But he is the number one target if De Gea doesn't sign a new deal, as I said. But we've got coming up Arsenal Wednesday, Fulham at the weekend, Liverpool, then it's Valencia, and then I think it's Liverpool after that, and Sanchez is going to potentially, I think, going to miss all them games as well. Potentially. So, potentially, Mourinho's not convinced we're going to get any major signings in January, as I do keep saying, guys. I wouldn't trust Mourinho with this money anywhere. And I think we just need to get rid of Jose Mourinho. I think we really, really do. And potentially, obviously, Lukaku obviously hasn't been to his potential best this season. You can't compare him to the likes of Aubameyang. You can't compare him to the likes of Lacazette. You can't compare him to the likes of Kane and all that. Or Aguero, because potentially, I like Aguero. He's really, really good at Atletico Madrid, and he's been great for Manchester City since he's been a very good, prolific goal scorer, good finisher, good at creating as well, creating chances. I like Aguero, to be quite fair. He's a good player, but Lukaku's slow. He doesn't have any tempo to his game. His first season when he came to United, he scored a lot of goals, and he's well proven, in the Premier League. He's Romelu Lukaku, and he's Everton's all-time top goal scorer, with 68 goals when he was there, of course. But obviously, as I said, his first touch is a big game bottle. I said I did have concerns when Lukaku came to the club. He obviously wasn't my preferred choice. It was good to get him, but he wasn't my preferred choice. I said I also had concerns about Matic as well, Nemanja Matic. Obviously, he's static in the midfield. He did okay at Chelsea at time, quite a few times with Chelsea, but I said I had concerns with, with Matic in the midfield. He's not a good midfielder. Like, you can't compare Matic to the likes of Kante and Fabinho and, all them good midfielders. You can't compare him to the likes of Nainggolan, who's very, very tenacious. You can't compare Matic to them type of midfielders because Matic is slow, he's static, he's potentially comparable to Fellaini. And when you've got Fellaini and Matic in the midfield, that is a static midfield. But for being, Matic Fellaini don't compliment, you know, the likes of Fabinho, Nainggolan, and Kante. I'm a Kante fan. He's a good box-to-box midfielder, Kante, as I said. But Fellaini and Matic is a bad midfield, as I said. But Mourinho's been playing Fellaini recently. And to be fair, he's done quite well recently, as I currently said. But Matic, I was happy that I came to the club. You know, he hasn't done well at all this season. He's been dreadful this season. You know, there's been United fans calling Mourinho to drop Nemanja Matic. He needs dropping Nemanja Matic. I know that Matic played in central defence at the weekend, you know, with Scott McTominay and Phil Jones. Mourinho admitted when he obviously told the Brazilian TV potentially that Man United almost needed a miracle to finish in the top four, considering the late results, and he's changed his perspective now, saying, I didn't mean if I did say we need a miracle. So that's what he's basically saying, and he says now we need to get wins on the board, and he says we don't need a miracle at all, according to Mourinho. But I said he had concern about when Matic came to the club. He was proven in the league with Chelsea and all that, and he'd been at like Benfica and that in the past, and had he been at Vitesse before as well in his career. Matic, he is tall as well, so he hasn't got much tempo to his play in the Nemanja Matic, so he finds it hard to create in that midfield with Fellaini because obviously he's static, he doesn't have a lot of tempo to his play, and he hasn't been good this season at all as Nemanja Matic, so I did have concerns when he came. I'd prefer to have signed a Fabinho or a Nainggolan, you know, players that are tenacious, players that can create, good at passing the ball. That's the type of players that we wanted, and as I said, so Matic, I was happy. It wasn't obviously my priority target. I'd have liked, you know, at Manchester United. Chelsea sanctioned him off for a reason, of course, because obviously that year or so ago, obviously, you know, they invested that money for his departure to go on and get Bakayoko. So they did get Bakayoko, so they decided to sanction Matic off from Chelsea. And they got £40 million for it. So potentially we could have got a better midfielder than Matic, to be quite fair. I'm happy with Lindelof this season. I think his progression this season has been very, very good as well. To be fair to Lindelof, I know he's out, so that's a shame that he's out. To be quite fair. But potentially, we still need an attacker in there. We still need a strong defender in there, as I said. But the big breaking news is about Hasenhuttl. Reportedly, as a player, he won the Austrian Football Bundesliga winner a few times, the Austrian Super Cup. Potentially, as a manager, he got a few promotions, and he stepped down as RP Leg's big manager back in May. He didn't sign it. He failed to sign a new deal with them, and reportedly he's the favourite now to take over the Southampton job. This is the main part of this video, but this is the main part of Southampton, you know, confirmed sacking on Monday of Mark Hughes, and now potentially on the brink of appointing Raphael Hasenhuttl, however you pronounce his surname. So let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. So yeah, so I think it is at the bookies. If you go on the bookies website, Jose Mourinho is the next favoured manager to be sacked as well. And Mourinho's admitted in the past he'd like Eden Hazard to come to United because he's got a good relationship with Hazard. Hazard is a world-class player. You know, Hazard did admit, you know, the other day in Sky Sports and that, potentially, he did admit, Eden Hazard, that he could leave Chelsea next summer. He's got a year and a half left in his contract. Very, very good. Can play attacking mid, can play out wide as well. You know, he's been in the Premier League now 6-7 years. Won honours with Chelsea, won awards himself. Been at Lille in the past as well, as I said. Risen up the ranks with them very, very well. Indeed, with Lille, you know, he was in a club academy for 2 years. You know, he'd been at Lille for like, is it 8? Would it like 8 years with there till he went, till he made the move to Chelsea. And Hazard, potentially one of the best players in the Premier League, at least for me, because his work rate's good, his finishing's fantastic, he's a very, very skillful, and he's a very good, delightful player to watch. And I think he complements himself in the Chelsea team fantastically well. But obviously Chelsea, our away, could leave next summer because obviously he's admitted it. He's discarded himself and making the Paris Saint-Germain move anywhere. So potentially Chelsea have identified Pulisic. Liverpool have been interested in Pulisic, as I've reminded you on my last couple of videos. I do like Pulisic. He is a good young age talent. I do like Pulisic a lot. He's been in the senior squad with Borussia Dortmund since 2016. Risen up their youth system fantastically well, as I said. as I said, and he's a very exciting young prospect. Is the current player, but I said we get any young players in, whoever we're getting, any young player, especially, I don't think they're gonna go on and develop under Jose Mourinho. As I said, he's given a name for himself in Germany as Christian Pulisic. He's under contract for 2020. He's rated at around £70 million. You can say that's a lot of money for a young player at 20 years of age. He's actually younger than Rashford and Martial, and obviously we paid, was it 57 million? Was it 56, £57 million paid for Martial? That was a lot for a young player as well. As I said, but that's a lot for Christian Pulisic. But a very good player. He can play out wide. He's proven to score goals. He's fast as well, reportedly, and he's done well with Borussia Dortmund. And Liverpool have been interested. Chelsea have been interested in him. But he's supposed to be a very good player. But Borussia Dortmund are not willing to do any business in January. They confirmed that they're willing to do business that summer, reportedly, as he said in the press the other day, as long as the teams that are interested in him reportedly are willing to pay the up £1 million that Borussia Dortmund are demanding for the current player. But he's a very good player. Of what I've watched him play a couple of times. Will be good to come and see him experience the Premier League. Borussia Dortmund are not willing to do business in January, but they're willing to do it next summer. Obviously, the director of Borussia Dortmund had confirmed this. But Chelsea identify him as a suitable replacement, and he's also got a good bond with Klopp, because obviously he's worked with Klopp in the past, so Klopp's looking to reunite with the player. They can't go for him in January, of course, because they're not willing to sell him in January. So we'll have to wait until next summer. As I said, so if Man United are going to make any sign in January, we're best off getting a young player, so you can try and grow and develop. As I said, I'm not convinced it's going to happen under Jose Mourinho with his style of play and all this, and with the team being shambolic and all that. And obviously we just need Mourinho to get out of this club, get the right man in to address the problems. As I said, to see what players are good enough to stay and see what players aren't good enough to stay. And potentially, we've got players aging up in our squad. Valencia, Ashley Young as well. Partly we're in talks of securing them 1-year deals, as I said. Are they 33, 34 now, a pair of them? So we have got a few players aging up in our squad now, as I said. We have got a few players aging up our squad. Matic, how old's Matic now? Is he 30, 31 or something like that? Fellaini's 29, 30 now or something like that. So we have got a few players, aging up in the Manchester United squad, as I said. But yeah, Mourinho come out in the press and mentioned that Man United almost need a miracle, and now he's saying, I didn't mean it if I did say it, and What you doing, Dad?
Check scores.
What scores?
Tonight's Premier League.
No.
I'll probably go for the Premier League. You can come weekend if you want. Probably going for it.
Will ya?
Yeah, that's a very controllable.
Not Black Lion. So yeah, so that's basically everything I've got to say to you today. That's 38-minute video, non-stop talking. Like to know your opinions on this of Ralph Hasenhuttl potentially becoming the new Southampton manager, and this should be confirmed by Wednesday night. This should be confirmed by within next 12, 24 to next 48 hours. Southampton want this confirmed by the end of the week. So Southampton fans, are you happy with this? Of this your new potential manager coming in your club? What do you think to it? Any Southampton fans? I've watched a couple of channels. I've seen your reactions on it. I'd like to know your perspectives on it. As I said. So anyway, everything's updated there. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel if you do consider subscribing. As always, and take care. God bless, guys. I'll see you all again very soon. Take care.